the disappearance of a prodigy. We begin tonight with a story that has kept the music industry in a state of constant speculation for over a decade. In 2012, a 17-year-old boy from Essex stepped onto a stage and did the impossible. He silenced a cynical audience and a notoriously tough panel of judges with a voice that felt like it belonged to a different century. Jonathan Antoine became an overnight sensation, a commercial juggernaut who seemed destined for a lifetime of sold-out arenas. But then, something unexpected happened. As the years rolled by, the headlines began to fade, and the grand operatic performances became fewer and farther between. Many fans feared the worst, wondering if the immense pressure of global fame had caused a total breakdown, or if the industry had simply moved on from the opera boy. However, new reports emerging in 2026 suggest that Jonathan wasn't just hiding. He was fighting a battle that no one on the outside could have possibly predicted. But while the world thought he was losing his voice, he was actually losing his sense of self in a way that would eventually lead to a total public transformation. The physical and mental metamorphosis. As our investigation continues, we look at the physical changes that have left fans stunned. When Jonathan recently re-emerged on social media, the images were jarring. The young man who once struggled with his weight and a lack of self-discipline had been replaced by a lean, focused, and seemingly revitalized artist. But this wasn't just about a gym routine or a new diet. Behind the scenes, Jonathan was dealing with severe mental health hurdles that he is only now beginning to speak about with clarity. He has hinted at dark periods where the light of fame felt more like a blinding searchlight, exposing every insecurity he possessed. He admitted in recent interviews that he felt he lacked the discipline to survive the industry, but we've uncovered that his struggle was much more complex than a simple lack of willpower. He was navigating a world that didn't make sense to him, all while under the scrutiny of millions. And just as fans began to celebrate his physical health, a new revelation surfaced that proved his biggest challenge wasn't his body, but the way his brain was wired. The breaking diagnosis in what is perhaps the most significant update of his career, Jonathan Antoine has officially broken his silence regarding a life-changing medical revelation. For years, his behavior was labeled as eccentric or quirky by the British press, but in a series of emotional updates leading into 2026, Jonathan revealed that he has been diagnosed with autism. This diagnosis has served as a master key, unlocking the mystery of his past decade of isolation. He described the moment of diagnosis as a profound relief, finally understanding why he felt like an outsider in his own life. This wasn't just a label, it was an explanation for the sensory overload of the stage and the social exhaustion that followed his BGT success. He has stated that he spent years in a daydream, trying to mask his true self to fit the mold of a classical superstar. However, the relief of this diagnosis was quickly overshadowed by a series of personal tragedies that threatened to silence his comeback before it even began. Tragedy behind the scenes. While Jonathan was finally finding the words to describe his internal world, his external support system began to crumble. News has reached us that the singer has been grappling with the loss of his closest companions, not colleagues, but the feline friends who saw him through his darkest years. The loss of his cat, Polly, following the earlier passing of Pandora, has left the singer in a state of visible grief. To many, this might seem like a minor detail, but for someone navigating the complexities of autism and fame, these losses were catastrophic. Jonathan has been open about how these silent partners were his anchor to reality. The emotional weight of these events has bled directly into his 2026 work, creating a vulnerability in his voice that we haven't heard since his teenage years. But just when it seemed he might retreat into the shadows of grief once more, he made a move that would permanently alter the course of his career. The Speaking to You rebrand on January 13, 2026, Jonathan Antoine did something no one expected. He didn't release a Puccini aria or a traditional hymn. Instead, he dropped a reimagining of John Legend's All of Me. This was the opening salvo for his new project, Speaking to You, an album scheduled for release on March 27. Our reports indicate that this album is a total departure from the safe, classical crossover sound of his youth. He is reportedly blending cinematic pop with his powerhouse vocals, finally stepping out from the shadow of the opera label. Furthermore, rumors regarding a reunion with Charlotte Jaconelli have been officially addressed. While the two remain on good terms, Jonathan is moving forward as a solo force, determined to define himself on his own terms. He is no longer the duo act. He is a man with a singular, unfiltered message. But this new musical direction comes with a massive risk. Will the audience that fell in love with a shy boy accept the bold, outspoken man he has become? The investigative conclusion as we conclude this report: the picture of Jonathan Antoine in 2026 is one of resilience and radical honesty. He has navigated the matrix of the entertainment industry, survived personal loss, and come to terms with a neurodivergent identity that he once feared would hold him back. He is no longer the kid who was scared of everything, but an artist who is seizing his own narrative with both hands. His journey from a viral BGT moment to a self-aware, genre-defying artist is a testament to the fact that the most important reveal isn't a secret or a scandal. It's the truth of who you are. Jonathan isn't just back. He's finally arrived. As he prepares for the launch of Speaking to You, the world is watching to see if this new chapter will be his greatest performance yet. The voice is the same, but the man behind it is entirely new, leaving us to wonder if the best of Jonathan Antoine is actually yet to come.